4-step. How many of you have written a resentment inventory? Oh, good.
He never has.
Who, you pointing at Larry?
Matthew.
How many are currently in inventory right now? A few of you. Hands didn't go quite as high, but that's okay.
Same number of hands that are back for the second time in their first year.
We're going to have a little fun with something which we call Theater of the Lie. It probably should be called Theater of the Truth, but...
or as he'll share with you, it probably should be called Theater of the Truth about the Lie, even if the truth about the lie is true.
There's some things I read in the big book I want to mention again so you'll have a sense of understanding. Maybe give you an explanation. And again, the first time I saw this, and as I work with it, as I begin to write inventory, I begin to have some pretty significant experiences, which is why I use it, because it works. It really opened me up in terms of inventory. Face and be rid of that which has me blocked from God. And some of the things I just want to reiterate again is the book talks about, we're going to get down to causes and conditions. And if you look up the word condition, it'll refer to condition as a state of being. And then a little bit further on, I read that before you get into what I call the fourth column, the big book makes a reference. It says, in that state, the wrongdoing of others, fancy or real, has the power to kill. So I want to show you all a little bit how that plays out, if you will. If I went into most people's homes, or if I spent just a very minimal amount of time with you, I would be able to identify 6 or 8, I'll use the words of the big book, stage characters that your ego has manufactured that you think define who you are. If you stop and think about how the ego is developed at birth, the very first interaction is with the parents, and so the first stage character has been born. I'm a son or I'm a daughter. And you get a sense of who you are from an external source, right? And then let's say that you have brothers or sisters. Now you have another stage character that you think defines who you are. I'm a brother or I'm a sister. And then you go along a little bit longer and you get into high school, and I guess let's say that you're an athlete. Now you got another one that you think defines who you are. Or maybe you're a computer geek or a nerd, so now you've got another one that defines who you are. Then there's people like us, we're the beer drinkers and the potheads and the antisocials, and so now we've got, that's another one that defines who we are. And then the first time that you either have sex with yourself or another human being, you now have introduced to another one. Somewhere in there, at least if you're a male, because that's what I am this time around. From the very first time I had my first fight, I got introduced to another one. I like to call him Rambo. He got real well defined as I got into my alcoholism, then got sent to Vietnam and some other stuff. And you ladies have one too. It's called Xena. Some of you very cleverly disguise it, but you all have it. Let's see, and then you go along a little bit longer and you start dating, and let's say if you're in a relation, those of you who are just, quote, in relationships, but you haven't moved into stage 2, which is perhaps commitment, and then stage 3, which is engaged, and stage 4, which is marriage, soon to be followed by stage 5, divorce. But now you have another character that you think defines you. I'm a husband, I'm a wife, pay attention to not only yourself when you talk, pay attention to other people when they talk, and watch how often they will be talking about a human being and never mention their name and use the word my. My house, my wife, my ex, my, and won't even use their name. And they're completely asleep to what they're doing when they do that. And so then if you go along and in that marriage or in that relationships you have children, now you have another stage character. Now you're a parent, aren't you? You're a mom and you're a dad. And of course, somewhere along the line, if you're working, you have a career person, right? Somewhere along the line, most of us have a part of us that is very much identified with money. I am my money. And so, if I just walk into your house, I can get a real sense of all the different stage characters that you think define who you are. And what are we having? We're having some fun here now. Cleaning lady? All right. So, are you getting an idea? Now, I want you to take a second. I want you to kind of think of your own stage characters, and I'll use myself as an example. And then I'll use Joe and I. So, I'm in the world to play the role that God has assigned. So, what are some of my roles? Well, I'm an alcoholic. I'm a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. Those are two different characters, by the way. I'm a spiritual man, Mr. AA. See? I definitely got a male Rambo in me. I am CEO of a company. Follow me? That defines who I am, correct? What else? I'm a writer. That's another one. I'm a sponsor. That's another one. I am my money. That's another one. I'm a jock. I'm an athlete. That's another one. That's a pretty good start. Every inventory that I've written, and the last one that I wrote, that inventory was written by different parts of those stage characters, depending on what individuals or institutions hurt, threatened, or interfered with one of those states of being. I'll give you an example. I wrote some inventory on some employees who work with me. I'm probably not the only one in this room that's had to do that. What stage character do you think, if I have an employee, and my perception is that employee is not showing up, giving the company a fair day's job, or being slothful, or blah, 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 what stage character do you think is being impacted by that? The CEO, the business person. And my inventory revealed that he wasn't just a little disturbed by this behavior. Because what does he need to be to exist? He needs to be in that position. So anything that hurts, threatens, or interferes with that position, he will experience it as though he's fighting for his very life, because he is. That's he wrote some inventory. Now, Mr. AA has been writing inventory for years. Because, there's no police squads going around cleaning all this crap up, and there's just stuff going on in AA, and he's just never satisfied. See, and Mr. AA has an idea of how it's supposed to look, right? Follow traditions and follow the big book. And, there's some groups in Dallas just not doing that. Can you imagine? And so he gets to write some inventory. But every time I write inventory, these different stage characters are the ones who write the pieces of inventory. Those of you that recently if you've gone through any relationship problems, I can assure you had a husband or a wife or a boyfriend or girlfriend that wrote some inventory that wasn't getting their way. Remember? So that's the basic concept that I want you to think about as we're going to do some stuff in Theater of the Lie, and maybe give you an idea of what you're up against with this stuff. maybe give you an idea of what the book means when it says resentment is the number one offender. Maybe give you an idea of what it means when it says in that state the wrongdoing of others, fancied or real, has the power to kill. So what I like to do when I do Theater of the Lie is I like to find someone who has maybe recently written some inventory they would be willing to share. Just so you know, I could pick anyone in this audience to do this with. You all have stage characters. You all got shit going on. I don't care who you are, because you can't defeat the ego. So I'd like to find someone who's recently written some. You want to volunteer? Come on up. Now, one of the first things we're going to find out is, go ahead and sit down. Some people call this the hot seat. So your name's?
Stacy.
Okay. I want you to give us some general information about the various stage characters that you have operating.
Okay, I'm a mother.
Okay, we got mom. You got that?
Wife.
Wife.
Not yet divorced. Girlfriend.
Wait, say that again. You're divorced?
Not yet.
Oh, not yet.
No.
Okay. And then I heard a girlfriend?
No.
Oh, okay.
Have a boy. Well, yeah, I'm a girlfriend too.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I got confused. She's both a wife and a girlfriend with two different men. I got confused. You all get that one? Did you catch that? Yeah. You're an alcoholic?
I'm an alcoholic.
Okay.
I'm a member of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Spiritual woman?
Spiritual woman.
Okay.
I have a Xena.
Ah,
Oh yeah, I have a big Xena.
Yeah. Any hobbies, any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Then there's the work.
Okay.
There's
Career.
my work. Career.
What do you do?
I do billing, but then there's an antique business I'm starting.
Oh, okay.
So there's the antiquer.
Okay.
Let's see what else.
That pretty well define you?
Oh God, no, I'm sure there's a lot more there.
That'll be a good start for inventory. By the way, I want to distinguish something. This is in the area of sex. You know, that area never talked about in AA, because we all have celibacy as a sane and sound ideal, right? I want you to understand something. How many of you are married? Raise your hands. Okay. So you have a state of being called husband and wife. And virtually every belief system you have came from watching your mother and father and television and the culture and everything else. That's where your third column starts to roll out. But I want you to understand something. You've got a husband and wife. For you wives, I want you to know that your husband has never cheated on you. But the stud will in a minute, because he's got a whole nother agenda. You follow? The same true for your husbands. The wife would never, ever cheat on you because that is not in her belief system, but that little sex kitten would, because she's got a different agenda. You follow me? See, any of you who are married that have ever written any inventory on your significant other, I assure you that you're writing out your third column. You have an idea of how a wife or husband's supposed to be. You have a complete script. Unfortunately, you never gave it to them, never told them about it. They don't fit it, and you're angry all the time. You see? And so that's some of the stuff that we're going to look at in here. So you got a pretty good idea of this. We got an interesting host of characters here. So, who are you resentful at?
Let's try the ex-husband first.
Okay. They're nameless, of course. I understand we're on tape, but can we just give him a name like Paul or something?
It's really Ivars.
Ivars?
Ivars.
Okay. So he actually has a name. I've noticed this in particular with this concept of when it comes to exes, because see, if you give them a name, it's like they still exist or something. You know, it's always exes, you know. Do they have a name? Well, yeah. Okay. So it's Ivars? Ivars. Okay, he's column 1. Okay, give me some stuff in column 2. What are you angry about?
That he had an affair, that he left the country, that he's a kid.
We got some stuff going on here. What was the third thing?
He's a child. He's irresponsible. Let's see what else.
Okay, let's back up a minute. You said the first reason was what? He had an affair.
He had an affair.
Okay, I need someone to play the wife. Come here and play the wife. Just stand back behind here. Now, when I ask you to play a role, here's what I want you to think about. You're in a one-act play, and you got one role. You're the wife, period. You don't know any of the rest of these characters in this play with you. You have one role, it's the wife only. So when I ask you for a response, I want you to give me a response that a wife would give. Okay? Yes. So any response you give me is going to be the response of a wife. Okay? Now let's see. Pick someone to... Let's see. He had an affair. The wife is different from your sexuality. It's a whole other deal, right? So pick someone to represent your sexuality.
Oh, you want me to pick one?
Yes.
Okay. Does that have to be a woman or can you be a man?
I don't care. It's your inventory of your life. Pick someone. Okay, come on up. We'll call this the... God, now she has a resentment, right? So, this is her sexuality. Call it the sex kitten, call it whatever, her sexual energy. You got to understand what the first thing she's writing in column 2 is the husband had an affair, correct? So when I ask you for a response, what defines you is your sexual energy. How you perform in bed, blah, 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 right? Boy, see how she's having a hard time here. Right? She's having a hard time. Okay, let me think. Did this impact your children?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so we got, pick the mother. The mother's different than the wife. You get it? See, you ladies have had split personalities for a long time. So we pick a mama. She has that look though, doesn't she? Come on. Okay. All right, pick someone else. Okay, and you just go ahead and stand there. So again, when all this information comes up, your response is going to be strictly that of the mother, right? You're the mother, and the response I'm going to want from you is how this impacts you as the mother. You don't know about the sexual energy, and you don't know about the wife. You don't care. You got one role in this one-act play, right? Okay. Now, what other things did you say in the second column?
Well, there's my spiritual. The second column we're talking about.
Oh well, yeah. Let's stick with this. I want to show you. This is good. This is one piece of inventory, and I want to show you what she has been up against. And I know some of her history. She's been up against this a long time. Now we pick someone to play the spiritual woman. Ah, yeah. It's always interesting who they pick. That's always kind of interesting. Now you've got Xena. Oh, yeah. Find a Xena. Find an angry woman. Oh. She says, oh, who, me? Angry? Yeah. Okay. Squeeze in here.
Is Xena the equivalent of Rambo, but
yes.
female? Uh-huh.
Yeah. So your role within this multiple personality disorder is to protect and defend. Period. Correct? You're that female Xena part. You've got one too, so you know what I'm talking about. So when I translate, when you get this information that's going to roll in, what I'm going to want from you is your reaction to that as Xena, right? Okay, what else? So what do we got? We got Xena, we got the mother, we have the sexuality, we have the wife, and we have the spiritual woman.
Where's Miss AA?
We don't. Well, we're calling her the spiritual woman, Miss AA. And then, huh? Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Pick a career woman.
I'm never emailing you again.
How did you find out about the affair?
My business partner told me.
Oh no! Ouch! Ouch! Oh no! Let's see. Now,
Mark has a nose for who to pick in the chair, doesn't he?
Yeah. And what did you do?
Retaliation is always a good way for revenge, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see. We'll develop that out a little more too. So let's see. Actually, I think we've got a pretty good cast here. So I want to repeat. This is the alcoholic, right? To drink is to die, correct? So we got Zena. We know what Zena's all about. Mama, right? Know what Mama's all about. Sex kitten. We know what she's about. Wife. We know what wife's about. Miss AA. We can almost hear what she's going to say already. And, of course, this is career woman. I am my money. I am my career. Correct? So here's what happens. Are you sure? Did you go to anger? Well, you probably did quickly, right? Okay? Who was crushed?
The wife, the mother.
Okay, let's start.
The wife,
okay. The mother. Okay, because I was thinking to myself when I was told this need. I've done this. See, it's just I've been her. I was trying to think of who was impacted first, and
he's been her and him.
Yeah. I think the husband took the full brunt first. So, you're the wife, right? And keep in mind, normally what I would do is I would take the alcoholic also, and I would put the alcoholic back behind each stage character. Because what's going to happen is who they are, what defines them, their state of being, it's completely tied into her being married to a man who's loyal and faithful. Get it? And now we have some new information. So, imagine that you have just heard that he is having an affair. What is your reaction to that?
How could you do that to me? I gave you the best years of my life, you son of a bitch.
And I imagine there would have been just to even touch more passion to that. Now I want you to think about this. When this happened, in order for her to exist, she needs a husband. His action said, pay attention. We get drunk, loaded, wind up in penitentiaries, kill people over this shit. His action said what to her? She doesn't exist. You are dead. She is fighting for her life, right? Okay. Who was probably the second one that reacted? You had the wife first?
Mother.
What's your reaction to this news?
How could you have done this to me and the children? How could you have destroyed our family? How dare you? How dare you?
Yes. Good. 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 And you'll notice both their positions initially started out as victims. Right? And in each of these stage characters, with the exception of Zena, who has one objective, which is to relieve him of something, a lower part of his anatomy, they will vacillate between judgment and victimization. Go into your own experience. How many of you have had this, I've been cheated on? Raise your hands. And the rest of you are liars. Or you didn't know. Okay, so we saw the reaction from the wife, and then we saw the reaction from the mother. What was probably the third reaction? Was Zena starting to rear her head a little bit here?
Well, what's revenge? Where does, that kind of...
That is Zena. Yeah. Okay. So now that those two have shared in their way, and you notice theirs was a touchy anger, but some victimization, right? How could you do this to me? I've been married to you all these years. I've done all this stuff for you, and of course, Mama. Now, what do you have to say about this?
Oh, God. Don't be.
What's Zena going to do? Have you ever been in this position?
Yes.
Well, you know what to say.
You fuck. Chop your dick off. I'd probably retaliate.
Yeah.
I'm going to hurt you just like you hurt me, you bastard.
Yeah.
And then I hope you die. I want to watch you bleed.
You're gonna fucking die.
You dead, motherfucker.
Yeah!
Now,
That's inventory.
that's inventory. Now, let's see. So at some point in time, we're not quite ready for her yet. This little sexual energy over here. Because, see, I'll tell you why. Something has to happen here. When he had an affair with another woman, what did he say to her? Bingo. She's fighting for her life. Now, Zena is going to give her a little juice. See? Zena's going to start rapping to her, but what is your initial reaction to all this, to this fact that he had a sexual affair with another woman?
Devastated.
Yeah,
Hurt. Feel unattractive. Feel ugly.
Bingo.
Disgusting. Non-existent.
Yeah, not fast enough, tall enough, buns are tight enough, blah, 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 right?
I
Yeah.
think she's got another belief.
Huh?
No. He just lost the best he ever had.
Yeah.
Right?
But we're not there. I want to show you something. Your initial reaction to stuff, we've all been through this, is going to start out, it's going to act like it's a little bit of anger, it's almost shock, and it normally starts out as victimization, with the exception of Zena. Because Zena don't know that. But think of your initial one, right? The wife, right? You know, how dare you do this all these years? It's a victimization stance, right? You did it to me. And then the mother, you did it to me. And now we have missexuality. You follow me? I'm not enough. I'm not enough. Now, Zena starts to stir that anger. Retaliation, right? Starts to stir the pot here. Because they'll all wind up having two faces. Now, were you guys in business together? Oh, yeah. So, now we've got Miss Career Woman. Now, of course, keep in mind the reality of this. When you hear that your husband and business partner, who's also happens to be your business partner's had an affair, that's probably going to have an impact on your pocketbook. Correct? So what's your reaction to this?
Oh my God. How are we going to do this? Get things together. He's probably going to take everything. What am I going to do to live on? Who's going to feed the kids?
Good.
Who's going to pay the bills?
Good. Now, I want you to keep something in mind. She's been by herself when she had this experience, and all this stuff's going on. Follow me? She's by herself, right? Where were you at when you heard this information? In London. Okay, you were in London. But you get it? All this stuff goes on in your head, and you just shift. You're shifting from one to the other, right? Okay, now, of course, we're going to hear from the spiritual woman. See? Who has deep understanding, compassion, and what's that standard line the spiritual woman throws out? You know, they're just... So what is your reaction to this?
Oh my God. What am I supposed to do here?
No.
God, Please guide me. Tell me what to do. I got to call my sponsor. I got to run to a meeting. I got to read the big book. I got to get on my knees. And all this stuff is going on all at the same time on top of all of this other stuff. And I don't think I could do this. I don't know if I could handle this. I don't know if I could stay sober through this. But I'll try.
And how will your denial show up? How would your denial show up being the spiritual woman? You're a spiritual woman, right? So what have you learned in AA about people who do things?
He's spiritually sick. He needs to go to AA. He needs a program. He needs to call his sponsor. He needs to stop drinking. He needs to go to Sexaholics Anonymous.
Zena's real clear what he needs. So this is what happens, and behind all this, because this is painful stuff. You've been through it. This is painful stuff. We're having a lot of fun, but this is painful, gut-wrenching stuff, because my sense of identity, who I am, is coming out here, and this is an act that has me fighting for my life. And I assure you, if the pain gets bad enough behind every one of these stage characters, or if the fear gets bad enough, is this alcoholic saying, screw it, let's go get drunk. Let's go get drunk. Let's go get drunk, right? Now there's another stage you're going to move to. We heard victimization initially. And I promise you, and Zena is she's the one who will use her energy and fuel to do this, and ego, rebuilding quickly, right? So I don't know how long it took her, but not too far down the road, I want to go back to these same characters, but I'm looking for a whole nother response, right? I'm looking for a response from the sex kitten that goes something like this. God damn, there's 2.5 billion men out there. Rock and roll. He wasn't that good anyhow. You know that little cutie down the bar? Let's go, baby. God, buy some lingerie. Yeah. Break out the Kama Sutra. Rock and roll. Follow me? So that's one piece, right? Mother's going to have another response from an aggressive standpoint. It's going to be me and the kids. See how that looks? I'm going to present to the world I'm a single mother. Got my chest stuck out. I'm a single mother. See? Guy cheated me out. I'm a single mother, right? See?
What does Zena do to the next lover that the sex kitten has?
Follow me?
I'm going to tear that motherfucker up. And there's only so many ways you can say some things, right? I'm going to fuck him up.
And fairly quickly, probably, an attorney had a little chat with the career woman. So what would you sound like now?
Well, I really need money, and I've never done anything like this before, and my bank is empty, and I need to take care of the kids, so I really need to have the whole business.
See, and I don't know how long did it take for all this just to play out?
It's still playing out.
Okay, how long ago did it start?
6 years ago.
Do you see what she deals with? You see, during the course of a day, she deals with, in that state, the wrongdoing of others, fancy or real, has the power to kill.
And if she doesn't see her troubles in that situation were of his own making, and she waits around holding her breath for him to make amends or change, woo.
See?
It'll be a long wait.
See, and this is the tragedy of the ego. This is why resentment is the number one offender. Can you imagine the inventory? Look at what we've seen off a few words. He had an affair on me. Look at the impact. Look how she experiences this mentally and emotionally. Right? Look at the up and downs just of the career woman, the money. Oh my God, what are we going to do? We're in business together. Some bitch, I'll kick you, just back and forth. And the wife, my God, what she's gone through. I wasted all those years. You know, how could I have been so dumb? And and then the sexual energy piece, feeling it's about because everything's about us, right? So it's about me, it's about me, it's about me. I'm talking the initial reaction, not down the road a little bit when she's out buying lingerie and Kama Sutra, but, and then the spiritual woman, you got combinations of things. One is, well, he's a sick man, and forgive and forget, and all that stuff, and Zena's hollering in her ear, screw that, kill him. And she's conflicted. You follow me? And if you've gone through a divorce, you know what I mean? You'll do your best, and you're trying to get along. The next thing you know, you both lose it. Say some of the most horrendous, horrible things to each other over the phone. What do you think that's all about? See?
So, question. Every one of those personalities has self-esteem, pride, ambition, security, personal relations, sex relations, and pocketbook.
Yeah.
That were hurt, threatened, or interfered with.
Because, see, this is such a beautiful one because these characters define so much of who she is, and this act, him having an affair, was life-threatening to every single one of them. Let me tell you the truth in this kind of stuff. About a year ago, my pal Floyd from Houston, Texas, he sends me an article. About a half-a-page write-up. And the story is of a fairly prominent dentist in Houston, Texas, who basically came home and said to his wife, I want a divorce. I'm going to go with another woman. And somewhere around 3 to 6 months after that, the wife took a gun, killed their 2 children, and killed herself. And I'm reading this article. And here's what the article says. She didn't work, so she was a wife. She was a devoted mother, a devoted member of the church, and loved her home. And this man came home, and in one sentence, the 4 things that identified every part of her being, he said did not exist. And the power of this is 3 months later, she killed those 2 children and killed herself. This is real. You experience the 3rd column as a state of being. Do you get it? You experience it. Therein lies the tragedy of the ego. You see why resentments are the number 1 offender? You see what's just played out here? You see why the book says uses the word permit, says we can't afford the luxury of this? Can you imagine what this woman's gone through for 6 years behind this? If you don't know how to write inventory, you can get free of this. I have my own experience with this. One of my exes, whose name was Carla, ran off with a man I used to sponsor to Montana. You want some inventory? I'll give you some inventory. Now I want to tell you how this works. About 15 months later, they came back. 2 months after that, he came to me and made amends, and I wound up taking him through the steps again. Now, I didn't stay married to her, but we made amends, and she still calls me as a spiritual advisor today. You see? That's getting drunk stuff. You know what I'm saying? See, because I love that woman. If I didn't have this process, I'd have been crazy. See? But this stuff is very real. You see how real this is? You all got your own experience. You start to see what you're up against. You follow me? All these different states of being. In that state, the wrongdoing of others, fancy real, has the power to kill. Let's give them all a hand. Let's take a break. Okay, I'm Mark, alcoholic. Did you learn anything from that visual exercise with Theater of the Lie? Good. It really shows you what you're up against with the resentment, doesn't it? What I do want to tell you something. There's a line in the Fear Inventory that we're in the world to play the role that God has assigned. And there is a state of consciousness that we've talked about in the 10th, 11th step in which you can play the role that God has assigned, but you are not attached to the role. And what that means is you can drop it in 30 seconds. You're not attached to the role. The role does not define you. You'll work with the role for as long as you're in the role. And when it's over, and you're right on to the next one. You're in a one-act play, and you know it. You see the difference? You see the difference in that whole thing? See, her response could have been, God bless you, go in peace. Boom, spun, moved. Cease fighting anything or anybody, right? See the difference? But theater of the lie opened me up to what I'm up against with my ego and my self-will and my selfishness. And why I seem to have gone through so much of my life, literally fighting for my life. At work, in relationships, unbelievable stuff. And I brought a lot of freedom into my life. It made writing inventory fun. Matter of fact, when we first got introduced to this and really began to have a lot of fun writing inventory, and I mean fun, we would ask each other, who's mad? You know? And we started to have a lot of fun with those roles, and our life got lighter. And I'll give you an example real quick of how this translates. When I got sober, I went to work for this company. I'd worked for them about 8 to 8.5 years. And when that job ended, I almost got suicidal. I was so identified with that job and did not even know it. Sound asleep to that. I was working 60 to 70 to 80-hour weeks, and I thought that job defined who I was. And when I wasn't doing that job, I can't even tell you the depression that set in. I literally thought I was dying, and I didn't have a clue why. I still had these, quote, other components of my life, I thought. But when you're working in something 60, 70, 80 hours a week and you're sound asleep and you think it defines you and it ends, you'll experience it as fighting for your life. A lot of people committed suicide behind careers ending. So pay attention to some of what we did. If you'll work with it, I think you'll also find that writing inventory not only would be easier, but could be a little bit more fun for you. But I hope most of all, you see what you're up against in a daily basis with a self-will intact. And what the big book means, what it says when it says, in that state, the wrongdoing of others, fancy real, has the power to kill.
Thanks, Mark. I'm Joe. I'm